An old man had just been fitted with hearing aids, and he comes back a week later to have everything assessed. And they asked him, well, how are things going? What does the family say? Well, he says, in all honesty, I want you to know, the hearing aids are brilliant, but I haven't told my family anything. They still think I'm deaf. So how is that working out? They ask him. It's working out brilliantly. I've already changed my will 3 times. It's in this week's portion that we read perhaps one of the most emotional, charged moments in all of biblical literature. We read of Jacob, who's become reunited with his son Joseph. After 20 years of believing that his son had been killed by wild beasts, he's informed that his son is very much alive. And in this week's portion, Parshat Vayigash, we are told how Yaakov and Yosef meet after so many years that they had been living apart. I'd like you to join me as we listen into the conversation that takes place when Yaakov and Yosef meet. Our rabbis tell us that at that moment in time, Yaakov recites the Shema Yisrael, and he says, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. And the question that begs to be asked, what compels Yaakov at that moment in time to recite this prayer? Jewish mystics explain that the names of God symbolize various character traits that God is using or emanating from him, so to speak, at that particular moment. In the Shema Yisrael, 2 names of God are used. The name Yud-Keh, or known as Hashem, which translates to mean the name, which speaks of God's chesed, God's compassion, and God's kindness. The other name of God that is used in the same section is the name Elokim, which speaks of gvura, of strict justice. If we're honest with ourselves, how many of us would consider stepping into the shoes of Yaakov Avinu? He really had a very, very challenging and difficult life. He had to flee from his parents' home. His only brother wanted to kill him. His only daughter was raped. His beloved son, he believed that he had been killed by wild beasts. The wife that he loved died in childbirth. Many, many challenges our forefather Yaakov Avinu had to face. Bearing all that in mind, let us relearn this verse. The Shema Yisrael, is perhaps Yaakov Avinu was actually saying to himself as he embraces his son Yosef. He says, Shema Yisrael. We know that Yaakov's name had been changed to Yisrael. So in actual fact, he's speaking to himself and he says, Yaakov, listen, appreciate, understand what you're experiencing at this very moment as you embrace Yosef, your son Joseph. Hear Yisrael. Hashem. If I'm honest with myself, I will realize that God has been compassionate. God has been very kind to me. But at the same time, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu. I also know that I've had some very, very difficult and traumatic challenges that I've had to live through during the course of my life. Hashem Elokeinu. So I have, so to speak, had a relationship with God that has both stemmed from the God of compassion and kindness and the God, so to speak, of strict justice. However, now that I'm embracing my son Joseph, and I now realize not only that he is alive, but he is now the viceroy of all of Egypt, and he is in a position to ensure that I and the rest of my family can survive and we will not die of hunger. I now come to the realization and the recognition that Hashem Echad, that everything, even those things that I felt emanated from God of strict justice, ultimately come from Echad, from Hashem Echad, all emanate from God of compassion and the God of kindness. And these are 3 blessings or 3 wishes that I would like to bestow on each and every one of us. The first, that we should not be challenged to have to question whether God is compassionate or not. The second, if we are indeed challenged, may we be blessed like Yaakov was, that in his own lifetime he understood and he realized that everything emanates from God's goodness and kindness. And the third and the final one, till that moment in time when we will be blessed with that knowledge and that understanding, may God give each and every one of us the strength and the courage to be able to fulfill God's mission that has been bestowed upon each and every one of us. Thank you.